Hi, Coach Durham here in Golden Gate Park, talking to you again about sensory awareness practices to transform grief. And today I'll be talking to you about smell, taste, and appetite. There are many kinds of fragrances that are used as therapy. There are reviving scents like lavender, pine, eucalyptus, sage, and citrus that have an enlivening quality. And there are more complex scents, the incense scents of sandalwood and frankincense, myrrh, have a deeper, complex quality that's very long-lasting and penetrating. And then there are the lighter scents, the floral scents that are sweet and transient and buoyant. And every scent that you use will have, of course, very personal qualities and characteristics. The Japanese have a word, Shinrin-yoku, which translates to forest bathing. And this is a practice of strolling through the woods and breathing deeply and allowing the trees to work their magic. The magic of the trees is they put out chemicals that protect them from parasites, from fungi, bacteria, and insects that might harm them. But those same chemicals are protective to us. They smell good. And they boost our immune cells and reduce our blood pressure and reduce stress hormones and bring us more into a parasympathetic state of rest. So that after some time walking in the woods, we can feel more tranquil. Our olfactory processing is different from visual and sound processing because it goes right to the hypothalamus and to the limbic system, so that as we smell things, we immediately get in a response of arousal or of memory. And this is an important survival mechanism. It also means that our scent receptors do adapt very quickly so that we don't hold a scent in mind for very long. So unlike sound or image that we can collect and savor, scents are very, very temporary, but they have very, very strong emotional cues. Because scents are not processed as much in the cortical regions of the brain, but in the deeper levels, we may not know why we are responding to a scent. We may not even be able to recognize or identify a scent, but they will affect us physiologically. And when we look at taste, we have to really realize that 90% of our experience of taste is scent. What our taste buds pick up is important physiological information, like how much sugar or protein or salt or acid or potentially toxic or medicinal components are in the food. But they don't really identify what it is we're eating and whether we've eaten it before and what we thought of it. It's the sense, the reception in our nose that allows us to identify our flavors and reminisce and appreciate and put them together with all the pleasures we have with eating. Some limitations to that is that in grief, if we've been crying a lot and we're very congested, we don't taste well. The molecules themselves have to go through all this dense fluid to get to the receptors, and we actually can't notice the flavors of our food. Grief also affects the pleasure we feel in taste. Taste piggybacks on a wiring that's very important for our biological functioning. It's our appetite system. With loss, there's a reduction of dopamine. And this is a neurotransmitter that's very important to our reward pathway. And this is a very biologically essential pathway to serve functions for feeding and sexual gratification. How dopamine works is that it gives us the motivation to do those actions which bring the rewards that we want. But if what I want is gone, then I feel, what's the use? And I lose the desire to do anything, to go feed myself or to go get a reward that I no longer really believe in. And it's very easy to do as little as possible to feed ourselves, whether in food and the pleasure of eating or other rewards. It's very possible not to eat, or to eat without thinking about it. When we're grieving and looking for something to fill the emptiness we feel, if we turn to food or other gratifications like escapic fantasies or sexuality or any of the things that we can distract ourselves with, we may find that we're behaving automatically without receiving real satisfaction. We may find that we're tasting for what isn't there and feeling ultimately disappointed. And there are mechanical pleasures to chewing and swallowing. There's the initial hit of, oh, this is a flavor I like, even when it doesn't persist and it doesn't connect with the memories, or it connects in a way that I want to hold back and shut down. To use smell and taste as a sensory awareness process in grief, it's important to approach our food not as what is going to satisfy our cravings, but more as what it is in itself. So we can pay attention to the scent and the color and the texture and all the different qualities of the ingredients. And as we prepare the food, we can taste it as we go along. Again, not trying to compare it to other things that we've had in the past and enjoyed, but to notice, how is it tasting and what is it like right now? It's also very helpful to shop when we're in a receptive, well-regulated state, so that we can notice what colors and qualities of ingredients we feel attracted to. And by way of regulated, I mean, don't shop when you're hungry or you're angry or have time pressure or you're tired. Give it good quality attention and follow where you're drawn to the possibility, the attractiveness of color and shape and form, and all the things that you would enjoy visually. Recognize that cooking and eating is an opportunity to care for your unarmored self. So as your guard comes down, allow your feelings to arise and stay attentive to the process. Use your resources to ease and de-escalate any feelings that are difficult to hold. Make sure to stay warm as you eat, and treat yourself well. When you are tasting your food, take your time. Taste for what is there and see what you like. As you're preparing your food, think of it as an opportunity to be creative. See what you like. See how it could be different. You don't have to prepare the same old familiar recipes, especially if those are the ones that trigger memories of your loss. You can play around with what happens when you add a garnish or a spice or a little more salt or a little less salt or more sweetness or more acid, and change it around and get creative. When you're eating your food, it's good to sit down, and especially when you're alone, make the food the center of your attention so that you're only eating when you're eating. And when you're tasting it for, what do I experience now? To gauge your own sensations. Slow down, take it easy, and if you're not getting much out of it because your grief is very deep, that's okay. Take your time. As we continue to taste with curiosity and creativity, we lay down new positive memories about our familiar foods and about the new foods that we're trying out. The older memories, holding the emotional content of our losses, doesn't go away, but it begins to fade into nostalgia. And nostalgia is a very life-affirming emotion because it reminds us that we have the capacity to feel deeply. If we were able to find meaning for things in the past, then we will be able to find meaning for things in the future.